Welcome back to On the Porch. We're going to read along Dante's Inferno Canto 10. I've gotten in the habit of kind of pre-explaining to you what we're going to read because it's in that poetry style. It's not always clear to me, so I'm assuming it's not always clear to my students. So I think it helps if you kind of know where we're going. It's like having a map before you go somewhere. You get your bearings. So let's do a little update. We just left the I think sixth circle of hell, and we're going into. Um, I guess we're still in the sixth circle of hell. This is Dante. Is the when we hear the point of view, it's from Dante. He's traveling with Virgil, the great poet, who has lost a little bit of his stigma of being, the ultimate being. When he started into the deeper depths of hell, he had to call in heavenly messengers to help out. But this doesn't let Dante, it doesn't affect Dante permanently against Virgil. They're about to enter the sixth circle of hell that's reserved for heretics. Now, this is a word, heresy, heretics. It's not a word, mentioned this several times. It's not a word that's really common today. You don't think of someone being heretical or a heretic or believing in heresies. But so it's not probably familiar to most high schoolers, but it's the idea that you're saying something that's against the politically or socially or religiously acceptable norms. So if you say there is no God, that's like blasphemy. That's heresy to say that. Where now you live in a generation where you can say more of what you want to say. So Dante and Virgil encounter flaming tombs in this canto, housing the souls of those who denied the immortality of the soul, notably the Epicureans. Among them is Farinata degli Uberti, a prominent Florentine political leader. Dante and Farinata engage in a tense conversation about Florentine politics, which we're not going to understand because, once again, this is from a time period that we don't know a lot about. So, unless you just happen to be a history major studying in Renaissance Italian or Florentine Italian history and politics, you're not going to know much about it. But remember, this is a lot like Canterbury Tales, a political commentary. So it's about their politics and their opposing factions, the different sides. The Guelphs and the Ghibellines. Another soul, Cavalcante del Cavalcante, father of Dante's friend Guido, briefly emerges, inquiring about his son's fate. The canto explores themes of heresy, political division, and the limitations of the damned who can foresee the future but are ignorant about the present. That's an interesting skill. What do you think about that? Would you want to be able to know what your future is going to be, but you're clueless about your present? So many of us live like that anyway. So, all right. So that's where we are on a little overview, what to expect. So let's go in and read Canto 10. And now advance we by a narrow track between the torments and the ramparts high. My master first, so that's Virgil, and I behind his back, so they're lined up. O mighty virtue, he's referring to Virgil there, at whose will am I wheeled through those impious circles. Then I said, speak, and in full my longing satisfy. The people who within the tombs are laid, may they be seen? The coverings are all thrown open, nor is there any guard displayed. And he to me, Virgil replies. I lost it. And he to me, all shall be fastened down when hither from Jehoshaphat they come, again in bodies which were once their own. Sounds like zombies, doesn't it? All here with Epicurus. Find their tomb who are his followers, and by whom 'tis held that the soul shares the body's mortal doom. Things here discovered then shall answer yielding quickly to thy question asked of me, as well as to the wish thou hast concealed. And I, good leader, if I hide from thee my heart, it is that I may little say, nor only now learned as I thus dumb to be, I don't speak. O Tuscan, who still living makest thou way, modest of speech, through the abode of flame, be pleased a little in this place to stay. The accents of thy language thee proclaim, to be a native of that state renowned, which I, perchance, wrong somewhat. Sudden came these words from out a tomb, which there was found amongst others, whereon I, compelled by fright, a little toward my leader shifted ground. And he turned round, what ails thee? Lo, upright beginneth Farinata to arise. All of him above the girdle comes in sight. On him already had I fixed my eyes. Towering erect with lifted front and chest, he seemed Inferno greatly to despise. And toward him I among the tombs was pressed by my guide's nimble and courageous hand, while he, choose well thy language, gave behest. Beneath his tomb, when I had taken my stand, regarding me a moment, of what house art thou? As if in scorn he made demand. To show myself obedient, anxious, I nothing hid, but told my ancestors. He says, what's your, who are you from? What's your family? And he's like, I have nothing to be ashamed of. This is who my family is. And listening, he gently raised his brows. Fiercely to me they proved themselves adverse, and to my sires and party. Then he said, because of which I did them twice disperse. So there was a conflict between the families. I answered him, and what although they fled? Twice from all quarters they returned with might. And art not mastered yet by these you led. Beside him then there issued into sight another shade, uncovered to the chin, propped on his knees, if I surmised right, if I guessed right. He peered around as if he fain would win. Fain is like pretend. Knowledge if any other was with me, and then his hope all spent, did thus begin, weeping. By dint of genius, if it be, thou visitest this dark prison, where, my son? And wherefore not found in thy company? And I to him, I come not here alone. He waiting yonder guides me, but disdain of him perchance was by your Guido shown. The words he used to manner of his pain revealed his name to me by beyond surmise. Hence was I able thus to answer plain. Then cried he, and at once upright did rise. How saidst thou was? Breathes he not then the air? The pleasant light no longer smites his eyes. When he of hesitation was aware of displayed by me in forming my reply, he fell supine, no more to reappear, but the magnanimous, at whose bidding I had halted there, the same expression wore, nor budged a jot, nor turned his neck awry. And if, resumed he, where he paused before, they be indeed but slow that art to learn than this my bed, to hear it pains me more. But ere the 50th time anew shall burn the lady's face who reigneth here below, of that sore art thou shalt experience earn, and as to the sweet world again thou'st go. Tell me, why is it people so without ruth for my race, as all their statutes show? And I to him, the slaughter and the rout, which made the Arabia to run with red, cause in our fane such prayers to be poured out. Whereon he heaved a sigh and shook his head. There I was not alone, nor to embrace that, 'cause was I, without good reason, led. But there I was alone, when from her place all granted Florence should be swept away. 'Twas I defended her with open face, so may your seed find peace some better day. I urge them, as this knot you shall untie, in which my judgment doth entangled stay. If I hear rightly ye, it seems describe beforehand what time brings, and yet ye seem neath other laws, as touching what is nigh, like those who see best what is far from them. We see things, said he, which afar remain. Thus much enlightened by the guide supreme, to know them present or approaching. Vain are all our powers, and save what they relate who hither come, of earth no news we gain. They don't know what's going on. Hence mayest thou gather in how dead a state shall all our knowledge from that time be thrown, when of the future shall be closed the gate. Then for my fault, as if repentant grown, I said, report to him who fell supine, that still among the living breathes his son. And if I, dumb, unable to speak, seemed answer to decline, tell him it was that I upon the knot was pondering then, you helped me to untwine. Me now my master called, whence I besought with more than former sharpness of the shade, to tell me what companions he had got. He answered me, some 1,000 here are laid with me, among the second Frederick, the cardinal too, of others naught be said. Then was he hid, and towards the barred antique I turned my steps, revolving in my brain the ominous words which I had heard him speak. He moved, and as we onward went again, demanded of me, wherefore thus amazed? Why are you surprised? And to his question I made answer plain. Within my mind let there be surely placed the sage babe, what 'gainst thee thou heardest say. Now mark me well, his finger here he raised, when thou shalt stand within her gentle ray, whose beauteous eye sees all. She will make known the stages of thy journey on life's way. Turning his feet, he to the left moved on. Leaving the wall, we to the middle, went up a path that to a veil strikes down, which even to us above its foulness sent. Canto 10. So below in the chat, instead of vocabulary this time, I'm putting some comprehension questions. You can always put them into ChatGPT to get the answers if you want, or we can open up a discussion. You know, they're not going to be right or wrong questions. They're going to be opinion questions, your ideas, thinking more analytically, trying to figure this crazy poem out. Tell me what you like about it or what you hate about it if you're reading this for school. See if it's helping or not. Remember, you've really got to use study tools. This is just a conglomerate of so much information and references to things that are historical that we really don't remember anymore, don't unless we're really studied in that particular area. Don't get discouraged. When I finish this series, I'm going to try something like Frankenstein or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, something like that that's a little bit more fun. I mean, those aren't fun, but I think more accessible. So thanks for reading with me. We're slowly growing. If it's helpful to you, subscribe, tell other classmates. That's how I grew last time. You guys just were great about telling your classmates. Teachers, you were telling your students. I hope this is a resource that you guys can use. And I will read to you on the porch next time. See ya.